Main story this morning that we're covering on offtheball.com for you is Eric Dier wading into the crowd. So Eric Dier jumps into Tottenham crowd in altercation with fans. There is footage of this emerging, as you'd expect from, it's the immediate aftermath of a game. Spurs are beaten on penalties. Dier slowly kind of comes over.
It's not much of a picture, that. Has he been superimposed? No, he's superimposed people's heads.
No, he's being dragged away. So multiple different parts of footage. There he is in the middle. It doesn't quite look like there's a dig being thrown, but there's definitely some downward pressure being exerted by... It's not... Look, this is not Eric Cantona in Selhurst Park.
No.
This is not.
It's not as exciting as that.
No.
That's for sure.
Jose Mourinho afterwards said, look...
Crowd surfing. He's going to start crowd surfing in a minute, or no?
As professionals, we can't do this, but you can have some sympathy with if... He's literally his brother, we think. Is
that his brother with him?
We think so, yeah. So this is from another Twitter user. And you can then see all these Twitter users in different footage whose stuff eventually gets uploaded. So
it's all about what's been said, really. That's all. I can understand. I've been there before, game, after a game, whatever the circumstance, you've got beaten, your head's spinning, you're all over the place, bit of a head wreck coming off the pitch. And someone says something, do you know what, it doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to be a profanity or language or the most horrible thing and the most insulting thing in the world. Just be something that just stings, burns you, big ears. It could be anything, the most trivial, but for that split second where you are in your head, it'll just trigger you. And that's it, for the next 10, 20 seconds, you're gone, you're over the horde and you're in there before you even know what's happening. So it'd be a big jump to say, oh, let's be careful what's been said, this could be outrageous comments and such. It could be the most trivial thing. Just at that moment, it's got that reaction.
He's travelled a good distance. Like there's another video where you kind of see him coming down the touchline and then he jumps over and he goes up into the stands. Obviously, the crowd have moved up. But so what Mourinho says is, I repeat, we professionals cannot do it, but I repeat, I am with the player and I understand the player. The fans were with the team until the last penalty kick that we missed. This person insulted Eric. The family was there. The younger brother was not happy with the situation. On the prospect of the club taking action against Dier, Mourinho said, if the club does that, I will not agree. But he did wrong.
Yeah, but I'm not being funny, though. If a fan's turned around and gone, bloody... I'll be very critical of Dier, his performances, by the way, when he's come back into the team. I was a huge fan of him a couple of years ago. I remember seeing him live a few times at White Hart Lane the first year or so when he came into the team, and I thought, this lad's going to be a world beater. Athletic, powerful, he's playing right back. He was amazing. He maintained that for a couple of years. We know he's had a few injury problems, but he's come back, and this year he's been an absolute shadow of himself. I don't know what's happened. Physically, I'm taking a mick about his physical condition, but his physically doesn't look right to me. He looks like a little bit out of shape. It's a funny thing to say, as if he's carrying too much weight. Now, I'm not saying bad attitude, bad professional, but I'm just saying this season his performance has been a massive drop-off. And if that's the case, you've got to be prepared to take a little bit. Now, if that supporter's turned around at the end of the game, okay, he scored his penalty, but hasn't been happy with his performance, the level of his performance this season, I think they're in the right. Throwaway comment, bloody hell, Eric, that ain't good enough. That's a joke performance from you. You've been
we don't know what was said. So
that's
what
I'm saying. Right. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But what you're saying is there's
too precious, too sensitive to any type of comment now from the. We understand that there's a line there. Of course there is, and any kind of comments of a racist nature, etc., absolutely are unacceptable. But I'm not too sure. Sometimes I'm thinking, really, I mean, what are we saying now? No criticism whatsoever, anything of a personal nature, slight. So, but suddenly that's, it's acceptable for him to jump in there and...
I was making the Eric Cantona comparison because this is nothing like Eric Cantona. And yet, these situations can inflame really quickly. We saw in basketball, was it Ron Artest who waded into the crowd and, a full-scale row erupts. We've seen Trevor Brennan. We've seen all sorts of stuff happen, and generally the punishment is very, very severe. If you're an athlete and you leave the field of play to get into the crowd to deal with something that's in the crowd, you get banned. You get big bans. Now, I don't know if this merits a big ban, but
no, I don't think so. For me, it's like more of a, you look at the incident, you get a feel for it straight away. I'm not one of it. Let's draw a line in the sand. He stepped into the fact physically. He stepped off the pitch. Over the fence.
Is there not something?
It's a 10-match ban. That's it.
Is there not something?
No discussion.
Let's
you
have that.
You can't go in there and start swinging punches, etc. Kung fu. It doesn't look as if that was the situation.
Kung fu.
He's gone in to confront somebody.
Kung fu definitely added a couple of months to that ban.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You've got to judge every particular instance on its merits. You go in there and you headbutt somebody straight away, mistaken identity.
Another couple of months.
7-year-old kid or something. Then obviously you're in a little bit of trouble. But that didn't seem to be the case. You've got to judge everything on the circumstance. That didn't look a huge amount to me. I don't like the fact he's jumped in there.
So you don't think that there's an automatic, like, I think there definitely is.
No, I don't think so. No, that's ridiculous. Like,
it's not. You can't be jumping into the stands, Kenny.
No, you can't. We can't. So what about someone jumps in and hugs his ma, hugs his 92-year-old granny who's come down for a first game? And is that a 10-match ban if you jump over into the stand to hug a family member? This is what you're saying. There's a line in the stand there, that's it.
Yeah, I think there is a line in the stand. If you go into the stand to confront a 90-year-old granny, then you're, you know...
Your 92-year-old granny's being critical of your performance. Are you entitled to go in there and get her in the headlock? Is that an automatic ban? No, but you know the point that I'm making? We've seen players jump in there and, like, hug their parents, But that's what I'm saying. Are you saying that's a ban?
No, I'm saying that if you... I think that there's a difference, right? Like, malice aforethought, is it confrontational? Are you going in there to confront somebody? I think that's the difference between going in there to, like... in a spirit of love,
then even then you're going to confront somebody verbally, step in there, go, excuse me, I've got an issue with that statement that you made, as opposed to, I want to go in and get hold of you and start throwing punches.
Yeah.
There's a massive difference there in terms of having a confrontation.
And so
that shouldn't be a 10-match ban for each of them.
No, but maybe there's an automatic. You leave the field of play, we're going to ban you for something, and then the conversation goes from, is it 3 games, is it 10 games?
Then it comes back to the granny argument again. You're saying as soon as you step over there, it's a minimum 3-match ban, and then we'll decide.
But the thing is, like, I mean, if you compare it to the granny hugging moments that we've seen in recent times, like Robbie Brady and his family, or
3-match ban according to
Harry Maguire,
6-match international ban according to Gerard.
How are you doing?
Should never play for Ireland again.
They were all standing on the pitch. They actually didn't go into the stands.
With love. If you're doing it in the spirit of love, then it's something completely different. Whereas if you're doing it in the spirit of hate,
tough love. Sometimes it's tough love. You got to hit. You got to lay it on a family member. That's tough love.
I'm sure.
How do we stand on tough love?
But we don't believe in tough love, Kenny. Just for the sake of all avoidance of doubt. You think he's not going to get banned?
Oh no, I think there's a fair chance he might. Yeah, absolutely. But I just, it depends what was said. It really does depend. I have a little bit of sympathy for him because I've explained that argument already. But then again, I wouldn't have a huge amount of sympathy if it's a kind of throwaway, trivial little comment. You can't be overly sensitive to things like that. I can understand that, like I said, head rec.
Dyer needs to be more professional.
Yeah, I think so. Like, dependent, but it's all dependent on what was said, yeah.
And if there's some ban coming, he can't be complaining too much about it. Like, if he's getting some ban for that, it's like, look, wake up, buddy. That's what's going to happen.
He needs to get himself in the sauna. If he gets himself banned, he needs to get himself into a sauna for a few weeks, shift some of that weight.
Let's bring you through the rest of the papers.